My wife slept with her boss. For 2 years, while I raised our kids alone. So I served her divorce papers at a hotel and walked away forever. I'm 43, and my wife, who's 40, and I've been married for 16 years. We have 2 children, a 14-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. Our marriage had a rough start, but we pushed through those early challenges and came out stronger. We got married young, so we lacked the maturity needed at times, but we truly loved each other and believed we could overcome anything that tried to come between us. Looking back, I'm still not sure if that belief was just wishful thinking. My wife has been a manager at a major advertising firm for the past 3 years, while I've worked in engineering for 7. Both our careers pay well, giving our family a very comfortable lifestyle. We were always a close-knit family. No matter how hectic life got, we made sure to be present for our kids, creating memories and spending quality time together. Honestly, I believed I was a good dad and husband. Sure, I made mistakes when it came to my wife, but I loved her deeply and would have done anything for her. That's why it completely shattered me when I discovered she had been having a long-term affair. Which brings me to the moment of discovery. For the past 2 years, things had grown incredibly tense. She had become distant, cold, like nothing I did was ever good enough. She started comparing me to her boss. Yeah, I know now. Constantly bringing up how he would handle situations better than I did. If I didn't plan date nights or surprise her, she'd say, "Well, his boss does that for his wife. Why couldn't I be more like him? Why was I so emotionally dull?" She even claimed he could read her mind. Apparently, I was the only clueless one. I'd ask her how to bring the spark back to our relationship, and she'd snap, "Don't ask. You should just know." So I tried to educate myself. I read books, browsed forums, anything that could help me understand what I was doing wrong. I put real effort into improving things, but no matter what I did, she either gave me lukewarm responses or looked completely disappointed. This wasn't the woman I had known for so long. So I assumed the problem was me, that I wasn't enough, and that I needed to change. What I didn't realize was that I wasn't the one who needed fixing. We were very close to her boss and his wife. They had kids too, and all our children adored each other. We'd take them to the park, throw family barbecues, spend game nights at the arcade. They visited our home often, and we'd go to theirs. So naturally, we all grew close. I even confided in her boss about our marriage problems. He always gave advice that seemed thoughtful. I thought he was a good man. Back to how I found out. I was worn down, emotionally drained from always trying to meet her expectations, always being told I wasn't good enough. And it made no sense to me, because before all this, I truly believed we had a strong marriage. Then, one night while we were lying in bed, she was giggling and texting someone. I leaned over just a little to see what she was laughing at, and she snatched the phone away from me like I had tried to grab a knife out of her hand. She got furious, instantly asking me what the hell I was doing. I calmly said I was curious about what was so funny. Her response? "It's none of your business," and she stormed off to the bathroom. That moment, I felt it in my gut. Something wasn't right. I couldn't prove anything, but I just knew. The next day, I made the mistake of asking her straight up if she was seeing someone else. She exploded, screaming, denying everything. I asked for her phone. She refused. Later that night, though, she handed it to me, clearly annoyed. I looked through it, but most of her messages with certain people had been deleted. Some conversations looked chopped up, others completely out of context. It was obvious something was off. I handed the phone back and didn't push it further, not right away. About a month later, I had a friend look into it. He was good with tech and managed to recover some deleted texts. By then, my wife had already started using a second phone, barely touching the one she gave me. Still, my buddy managed to extract fragments of conversations, and the pieces started forming a picture. A picture I didn't want to see. She was cheating. With her boss. Even with the proof in my hands, I knew if I confronted her now, she'd find a way to deny or twist it. So I waited. I needed time to figure out what I was going to do, but inside, I was breaking. All I could think about was how this would affect our children. I was devastated and cried in front of my friend, something I hadn't done in years. Break. And even after everything, I wasn't ready to let go of the marriage. 3 days later, I went out and bought How to Help Your Spouse Heal from an Affair. I know, some of you are probably shaking your heads right now, but back then I was still clinging to hope. I truly believed that if I gave her the right tools, she might finally see the damage she'd done and stop all of this. I began reading the book, hoping that if I gave it to my wife, she'd realize what she was doing and stop all this madness. I just wanted her back. I wanted to fix our marriage. I had planned to talk to her that Saturday and try to sort things out, but she claimed there was a work emergency and told me not to wait up for her. Of course, I didn't just take her word for it. I called her office that day to confirm her story. No answer. They weren't even open on Saturdays. I tried reaching her on her phone, but she didn't respond. She finally came home at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. She went straight into the shower, then quietly slipped into bed. I asked her why she was so late. She dodged the question and just repeated what she said before, that she told me not to wait. I was done. I didn't give her the book I had bought. I was hurting, and she didn't care. She could see how much I was breaking inside and still chose to ignore it. I was desperate for something solid to hold on to, and I don't regret what I did next. I reached out to her boss's wife. I asked her if she knew anything. She was just as blindsided as I had been. She wanted to confront her husband right away, but I warned her. He'd probably deny everything and just cover his tracks better, like my wife did. We agreed to meet at her place to discuss everything. I showed her the few pieces of evidence I had. She wanted more, real proof. So we both decided to investigate separately and compare what we found. I began tracking my wife more closely, and she did the same with her husband. It was surprisingly easy on her end. Her husband was so cocky, he hadn't even bothered to delete the messages between him and my wife. Once she showed me those texts, the pieces I had earlier started making sense. The timeline became clear. The affair had been going on for 2 years. We were both furious. She wanted revenge. So did I. They had slept together everywhere, in our house, her house, high-end hotels, during business trips. Reading through those messages made me feel sick. They even exchanged explicit pictures. We chose not to look at the images. There was no point in traumatizing ourselves any further. We didn't want revenge by cheating. We weren't going to stoop to their level. If they wanted each other, they could have each other. We both drew up divorce papers around the same time. We were determined. Our spouses had no clue that we knew anything. We played our roles well. By the time we had everything ready, they were back at it again. But now, with the boss's wife helping, we knew exactly where they were and how they could be served. We found out the hotel they had booked for one of their getaways. I personally went there with the sheriff. I waited in the hotel lobby while the sheriff arranged everything. My wife was called down from her room. She came down, wearing only a bathrobe. I'm sure there was nothing underneath. She looked stunned and terrified, immediately demanding to know why I was there. The hotel wasn't too far from home, but still far enough that she thought she was safe. The sheriff asked her to confirm her name and information. She answered, confused, and then she was served. The look on her face was unforgettable. She was speechless. I didn't want to gloat, so I turned and started to leave. But she wouldn't let me. She grabbed my arm, holding me back, demanding an explanation. I told her plainly, "You had an affair." "I'm leaving you, that's it." She began shouting, then yanked my arm harder. The sheriff stepped in, ordering her to let go. She finally did and started crying, saying she could explain, that I had misunderstood everything, and it was somehow my fault. I could feel my temper rising, so I walked away before I lost control. Apparently, after I left, she contacted her boss. He panicked and rushed home, only to be served there too. We didn't give them time to clean up the mess or rehearse excuses. We ambushed them the way they ambushed us. My divorce will be finalized in a few months. Hers might take a bit longer. Both my wife and her boss are trying to fight the divorces. Neither wants to let go. Their excuse? They never planned to leave their families. According to them, it was just a physical fling, nothing more. Break. They say people survive worse and still rebuild a strong marriage. They admit they screwed up and now want a chance to fix it. I asked my wife what she expected to happen with all this. She claimed she was just going with the flow, acting completely out of character. She's not that person anymore. That's what she told me. I told her straight up, she's a fool. Now, people around me are calling me cruel for not giving her another chance. Even though my kids know the truth, age appropriately, of course, they're still on my side. They do wish we'd stay together, but they support me completely. But I won't lie, my resolve is starting to slip. Living under the same roof, watching her go to therapy and read that book I once hoped would fix us, it's messing with my head. She says she regrets everything and will do whatever it takes to earn me back. But all I keep telling her is, you're only sorry because you got caught. That's all I need to know. She once called me bitter and resentful, said I can't see past the pain. Later, she apologized for saying that, but I know deep down that's what she really believes. I still talk to her boss's wife, and my wife can't stand it. She's convinced I'll start something with her out of revenge, or that I'm only refusing to try again with her because the boss's wife is influencing me. She's begged me repeatedly to cut off all communication with her boss's wife, just like she's done with her boss. I told her she's lost it. We didn't do anything wrong. Why should I respect her opinions now? Honestly, I think I'm done. I've lost all respect for her. Still, she refuses to give up. She keeps trying to talk to me, telling me her reasons, her mental state, her emotional confusion. But to me, they're all excuses. So I don't listen. I don't entertain it. She wants us to go to therapy together, but I've read too many stories about therapists siding with the cheater and blaming the betrayed. So I said, no way. She also wants me to read infidelity recovery books with her. I told her, what's the point? We're getting divorced. She's tried to be intimate. I shut that down. I told her flat out she wasn't going to seduce her way out of this. She claimed it wasn't manipulation, that she just wants to show me how much she still loves me. I corrected her. You mean you love me now? Even my own mother is frustrated with me. People keep saying that my wife simply made a mistake, and that through all of it, she's realized how much she truly loves me. I told them I will never be someone's backup option. I deserve more than being Plan B. Still, I feel guilty. I hate how cold I've been toward her. I do still love her, even if there's hatred there too. Am I being unnecessarily cruel? She's really trying, but I just don't care anymore. Should I reconsider the divorce? Some people say I'm rushing this, that I'll regret it, but I honestly don't know what's real anymore. Thank you all for responding to my story. I've read every comment, and some of you brought up really important points. I'm about to sit down and have a serious conversation with my wife. I'll keep you all posted, but as of right now, I still think divorce is the best path for me and for our kids. Reading all of your insights has helped more than you know. Update. Okay, I'm back again, trying for the second time to post this because my inbox was overflowing with people asking for an update. Thanks for caring, truly. So, here's where we stand. My wife and I are in a somewhat stable place. Not because we're getting back together, but because the situation is more under control now. To be clear, I'm still moving forward with the divorce. The last post I made, which was taken down by the site's automod, went into more detail, but here's the short version. My wife is still pleading for another chance and doing everything she can to convince me. But I'm not budging. The affair went on for 2 years. That's not something I can just move past. If it had been a one-night lapse in judgment, maybe things would be different. But 2 years? That's not a mistake, that's a choice, again and again. I did attend a couple of therapy sessions with her. Not because I wanted to fix the marriage, but because I'm not heartless. I still care, I still love her, in a way. One of those sessions actually helped. It gave me insight and made me realize she is remorseful. She hasn't handled the aftermath perfectly, but she's been putting in serious effort. The second session, though, was a disaster. She exploded when she found out I was still talking to her boss's wife. She was terrified I'd start something with her out of spite. That session triggered the angriest argument we've had through all of this. Bo. We argued later, too, when I refused to cut contact with the boss's wife. Eventually, I reassured her that I wouldn't have a revenge affair. I didn't owe her that, but she's still technically my wife, and until our divorce is final, I want to hold on to the values I committed to. I've continued attending some of the sessions, mainly to watch her progress. Yes, the therapist is both a marriage and individual counselor. No, I'm not doing this because, deep down, I want to save our marriage. I just want to observe my wife's progress myself, and to take part when necessary. Once the divorce is finalized, I'll step away quietly. The boss's wife is still pushing forward with her divorce, though her husband continues to resist. She's just as determined as I am, I'll admit. We lean on each other emotionally during the low moments. But that's it. There's no affair happening between us. We're simply friendly and supportive. She's a strong, independent woman who doesn't take crap from anyone. As for my kids, they're doing well. They understand, in an age-appropriate way, that our divorce doesn't mean we love them any less. Sure, they'd prefer if we stayed together, but they understand why that's not possible. My wife no longer works at the advertising firm. She quit shortly after I served her the papers. She's kept a strict no-contact policy with her ex-boss. At least that's what she claims. She's been active on online forums, looking for advice on how to repair our relationship, and I know she's even mentioned the book I gave her. I've been doing a lot of reading, too. At first, I couldn't grasp why some people stayed with partners who cheated, but now, seeing how hard my wife has been working to change, I understand the temptation. She's not evil, just deeply flawed. She made horrible decisions, but she's trying to grow from them. She's offered me everything under the sun just to earn a second chance. I'm not sure I have it in me. Strangely, the closer the divorce gets to being finalized, the more peace I feel. Recently, she asked me if we could have a post-divorce relationship. A clean slate after everything is said and done. Honestly, I wasn't completely against it. But it would be a long, steep road for her to travel before I could even begin to entertain the idea. She says she's willing to do whatever it takes. Still, I don't see how that benefits either of us. If I'm being honest, a huge part of me wants this divorce simply for the sake of justice. It's the only justice I can get without lowering myself to her level. My mom and I have reconciled. I finally told her more about my wife's affair. Now, she's absolutely livid with my wife. I'm not even sure how to manage that situation anymore. Rant time, revenge affair. I didn't plan to post again until the divorce was complete, but I'm furious today and need to vent. As many of you know, my wife is obsessed with the idea that I'll cheat on her as revenge. The only reason she's this scared is because I'm still in contact with the other betrayed spouse. That's it. My wife is extremely insecure, especially compared to the other betrayed spouse who's younger, stunning, runs her own business, and has the kind of presence that commands a room. It makes my wife paranoid. She's terrified that I'll snap one day, give in to temptation and cheat on her out of spite. And the audacity, she actually gave me the 2 wrongs don't make a right lecture. Yes, I get it. She's not wrong. But still, the hypocrisy boils my blood. Every time I tell her I'm going to visit the other betrayed spouse, like I did yesterday, she either breaks down or turns into this clingy mess. I've lost count of how many times she's tried to throw herself at me, desperate to remind me that she still loves me. I reject her every time, and every time it gets worse. It blows my mind that cheaters can still be this selfish. They cry over their own guilt and fear, while the people they betrayed are left to pick up the broken pieces. We're the ones forced to stay strong while they crumble. For the record, my kids still hang out with the boss's kids. I never visit the other betrayed spouse without bringing my kids along. But my wife? She still thinks I'll use any chance I get to hook up with this woman. It's laughable. The boss, he's still living in their vacation home, begging his wife to take him back. And yes, I'll admit, watching him suffer the fallout gives me some satisfaction. He hasn't threatened me, not even once. He knows I hold all the cards. I still talk to his wife, and that alone keeps him in check. He's allowed to visit his kids any time, but he refuses to be around me. So he makes arrangements to only show up when I'm not there. Honestly, I pity him. My wife, meanwhile, has become overly apologetic. She's constantly pouring on affection, and I just brush it off. I'm not okay. I'm not in a good place. Break. We have a therapy session today, and I feel like unloading every ounce of pain I've been carrying. The resentment, the betrayal, the rage. It's bubbling up, and I'm not sure how much longer I can keep it all contained. Update. Just checking in. Nothing major to report, but a few things have come up. Reading through my posts and your messages made me realize what a valuable space this is. A real support system for people like us. I've been diving into more infidelity resources lately, trying to understand the situation. Anyway, during a recent therapy session with my wife, she asked me to give her a little more time. Time to try and win me back. She had reason after reason for why it might be worth exploring the possibility of working on our marriage. Not full reconciliation yet, but a chance to test whether healing was even possible. I kept reminding her that she was only trying now because of the consequences of her affair. If she were still seeing the other man, she wouldn't be trying at all. She emotionally manipulated me for months, and I'm not someone who gets walked over, not even by the woman I once adored. She admitted to everything again and apologized again. She's made countless promises to make things right. She swears she wants our marriage to become stronger than ever and genuinely believes it's possible. I asked her if she was prepared to deal with my anger, because I still have a lot of it. She said, absolutely, and even told me I should vent it all on her whenever I need, if it helps me process the pain. Usually, when I've asked her why she cheated, she's hit me with a list of excuses. But this time, she was different. She told me there was no excuse, none, and that she plans to spend every single day of her life proving through her actions that she regrets it and would never do it again. She opened up more than I expected, admitting that her insecurities and jealousy over the other betrayed spouse had a lot to do with her actions. She said the affair boosted her ego, made her feel attractive and wanted again. It was a fantasy she got addicted to. She admitted she never really considered the consequences, though the thought crossed her mind once in a while. Now, she regrets it entirely. She said she'll live with that guilt forever, and may never be able to forgive herself for what she did. She told me that she could never compare to the other betrayed spouse because not only is she beautiful, but she's also dignified. According to her, not once did the other woman insult or threaten her. Everything she had assumed was just her own insecurity and fear, mixed with the fact that I was furious with her betrayal. Then came an unexpected moment. The therapist turned to me and asked what it would take for me to even consider my wife's proposal. I had no answer. I told her the truth, that I'd need a time machine. Because whatever this is, it isn't the marriage I agreed to. It's a hollow version of it, and I never signed up for that. The therapist responded that every marriage faces trials, whether it's infidelity or tragedy, and how those trials are handled reveals the true strength of the bond. I couldn't believe where the conversation was heading. I asked the therapist to shift focus back to my wife, not us. Then the therapist told me that my unwillingness to hear logic might be a communication issue. I didn't argue. Maybe she had a point. My wife and I had a long conversation in the car afterward. She asked if I felt emasculated by her affair. That surprised me. She had never asked me that before. I told her yes. I did feel emasculated. Then she hit me with another curveball. She asked if I'd feel better if I slept with someone else. I told her once again, I'm not interested in revenge cheating. Ever. She clarified that she was talking about a trial separation, where I could go out, regain my confidence, explore whatever I needed, and she would remain faithful. She said she'd wait patiently until I was ready to return to the marriage. If I thought she was desperate before, this proposal was next level. I asked her how she thought that would help rebuild our relationship. Why would both of us sleeping around make anything better? She argued that it wouldn't be cheating, because it would happen during a structured separation, with agreed-upon boundaries and freedom for me. I told her that was a huge risk she was taking. She replied that we were getting divorced anyway, so if this didn't help us, at least I'd get a taste of what the outside world had to offer. Naturally, I rejected the idea. It didn't sound like her at all, and it felt wrong. Even more than what we were already going through. Still, I've noticed something different about her. She's been unusually calm and patient these past few weeks, almost like a different woman than the insecure, anxious person I knew. Of course, I still can't trust her. For my own sanity, I have to keep my guard up. Break. But it's hard. Even though she says she doesn't want it, she's been extremely generous throughout the divorce process. I've read so many horror stories about divorces turning toxic, but not this one. It doesn't even feel real sometimes. It's hard to make sense of. Just to be crystal clear, I'm still moving forward with the divorce. Still going through with it. But I am interested in hearing your thoughts on this latest update. Back again. Hey everyone, here's another chapter in this mess of a life I'm dealing with. Before I get into it, I want to thank those who've continued to message me with encouragement and support. It means more than you know. So, right now, my wife and I have agreed to be civil and spend the holidays together as a family. It'll be our final holiday celebration together, though she's still clinging to the hope that it won't be. I'm doing this purely for the sake of our kids. I love them deeply, and I wanted them to have one last normal holiday before everything changes. Our divorce will be finalized mid-February. For those asking about the legal side, we've divided everything 50-50, though she's been quite generous on her end. I'm not sure if that's part of a strategy and if she'll flip later, but so far she's been surprisingly kind. She admitted that I've been a great husband and father, and she wants to make sure the divorce is more than fair considering what she did. That's not to say she's walking away with nothing, but I am getting slightly more because of her willingness to do the right thing now. I've decided to stop going to therapy with her. It was giving her the wrong idea, false hope, mixed signals. She recently admitted that she's been burning with the desire to be physically intimate with me since all this started. She said now that she understands how her affair made me feel unwanted and emasculated. She wants to fix that damage, and she's been trying hard. Honestly, she never initiated sex much before all this, which is why it stings that she's suddenly going all in now. Over time, though, I started to recognize that she's not just doing it to manipulate me. She actually sees this as a part of what she broke, and she's trying to repair it. I've still turned her down, but she hasn't stopped. She keeps insisting it's not about reconciliation. She just wants me to feel wanted again, to feel like I matter. She's tried everything: new lingerie, sexting, love letters, affectionate touches. It's hard not to give in. Meanwhile, I've temporarily cut off contact with the other betrayed spouse. Things were starting to get too emotionally complicated for me. To the person who pointed out that I might be slipping into a revenge affair, you weren't wrong. I didn't even realize it until she told me she wanted to see where things between us could go. She said she'd wait until my divorce was finalized before making any moves. I didn't know what to say. I had no answer, so we agreed to give each other space until everything is settled. She's a beautiful, accomplished woman, but I honestly don't know if I can return her feelings. I'm not sure how to handle that. Some people have suggested that my connection with her is stopping her from reconciling with her husband. Let me be very clear. I've had zero influence over that. Her decision to leave him is entirely her own. We don't badmouth our spouses when we talk. That's a boundary we've both respected. Recently, her ex, the man my wife had the affair with, met me face to face. He apologized for everything. This was a guy who used to walk around like he owned the world, and this whole experience clearly humbled him. I didn't accept his apology. Maybe I'm petty, but I couldn't care less about his regrets. Here's something I've been struggling with and want your honest opinion on. Is it wrong to sleep with my wife, even if we're not getting back together? I'll be real. I miss sex. I miss the closeness, the intimacy. She's eager and pulling out all the stops: new outfits, love notes, flirty messages. She even threw out and destroyed anything that reminded us of him. I didn't ask her to. I didn't even want to know where they'd slept together. I wish I could just flip a switch and shut off all the feelings, but it's not that easy. So, is this a trap? Am I being played? Before anyone suggests I kick her out, trust me, I tried. But having her stay until the divorce is final is just easier for now. Rant incoming. It finally hit me. The reality of everything. For the longest time, I felt like I wasted all these years on someone who was never worth it. But the truth is, she gave me my children. She gave me memories I'll always treasure. That can't be erased. And now I understand something I didn't before. I can do better, and I will do better. I've been flooded with advice from people who've gone through this, and it's helped me see that I don't need to settle. I don't need to hold on to someone who tore me apart the moment another man looked her way. She gave her energy, her body, her attention to someone else, and made me feel invisible. Break. But here's the twist. I think I'm finally, truly over her. And of course, it's only now that she's willing to do whatever it takes to keep me. Suddenly, she's pouring all her energy into us. Now she wants me to be happy, when back then she couldn't have cared less. Now she wants to be wild and adventurous in bed, something she never even attempted before. The sex we had during our marriage, it was never mind-blowing, but I liked it because I loved her. But now, after seeing the messages she exchanged with him, I realize how much I missed out on. I only caught a glimpse of how intense their rendezvous were, and that glimpse was enough. And now she wants to prove how deeply she loves me? That stings, especially when she used to be so uninterested. Her past laziness in bed speaks volumes, and yet now she respects my boundaries, gives me space, and supports everything I do. Before, it was all about her needs, her feelings, her expectations. I was just the provider, the support system. Now she sees me as the king I wished she had seen all along. But it took tearing her off that pedestal for her to finally look up to me. She's become the ideal version of herself. But it all feels too little, too late. Now she's completely transparent, brutally honest even when it's painful. I don't think I've ever seen someone carry around this much shame. Her face wears it constantly. She says she wishes the affair had never happened. I can tell she means it. I see how much she beats herself up daily, and I can see how much it crushes her when I don't react to her efforts. She tries to hide it, but I see the misery in her, and yeah, sometimes that makes me hate myself. But part of me still believes it's necessary. So then why can't I see all this as a good thing? Why can't I judge her based on what she's doing now? Remorse, effort, change. Don't plenty of people have long-term affairs and come back stronger than ever? Why am I still making decisions based on emotion instead of logic and maturity? Another man will probably end up with the best version of her. Meanwhile, I'll be walking into another uncertain relationship with someone new. So why not fight for this? Why not believe there's still something worth saving? That's the line of thinking I've been fed, and here's my response. I will not accept disrespect. Ever again. Maybe in the beginning, when the truth first came out, I might have been weak enough to try. But I snapped out of that fog fast. So, for the people who've messaged me and checked in regularly, here's where I stand. I'm going to enjoy this Christmas with my family, and then I'm moving on. As for my wife, I've stopped listening to the justifications I created in my head to let her keep control over me. I've let go of the idea of her. We're done. No dating, no second chances, no reconciliation. It's over, for good. And no, my wife is not some evil villain. That's never been my belief. I want her to be happy too, just not with me. That part of our lives is over. I called the other betrayed spouse today. I invited her to dinner after the holidays to thank her for being there when I was at rock bottom. She said she'd love to go. I know it's not something that happens often, but we leaned on each other through some of the darkest moments, and I'll always appreciate her for that. Before anyone accuses me of scheming with OBS all along, let me be clear, I didn't. My emotions have been scrambled for years. The thought of being with another woman didn't even enter my mind until recently. And this is just dinner, nothing more. Unless we both want it. No expectations. As the divorce nears its end, I'm starting to realize I actually have options. And one of them has been right in front of me the whole time. What about the other man? I don't give a flying fox about him. I don't think I'll ever marry again. I'll make that clear to any woman I date. Even though the divorce wasn't nasty, I still lost a significant chunk of money. The entire idea of marriage just feels like a lie now. Sorry if that sounds harsh. I'm still jaded. I gave my best years to someone who didn't value them. And now that I'm finally seeing clearly, I'm realizing how little I got in return. Happy holidays. You won't hear from me for a while. Update. Officially divorced. It's been a long time coming. I mentioned before that I'd return for a final update, and here it is. It's over. My ex and I are officially separated. The paperwork was finalized almost 3 weeks ago. For a few days after, I grieved hard. It hit me like the death of a loved one. I've never cried that intensely since the day I first discovered the affair. The pain, the rage, it all poured out. It was one of the lowest points of my life. Break. Everything has been arranged to make things easier for my ex, especially for the kids' sake. She's moved out, and I'm in the process of buying her out of her share of the house. She's living in an apartment now, a pretty major downgrade for her, and it's clearly weighing on her. She's still attending therapy and stays invested in reading and researching infidelity. I'm not sure exactly why anymore. We've had long conversations that have led to a sort of post-divorce, minimal physical contact arrangement. I know I probably shouldn't be entertaining any of this, but she's still the mother of my children, and I want us to co-parent in a healthy, stable way. If nothing else, I'm trying to stay logical about everything. That's mostly thanks to this community, and others like it. The same narrative continues. She wants reconciliation, and I still think it's too risky to put myself back into that vulnerable place again. Unfortunately, I'm no longer in the mindset to offer her that gift. This past weekend, I went out to dinner with the other betrayed spouse, just for conversation and company. That was my only intention. We talked about a wide range of topics, and things started to get flirtier than expected. I was hesitant to lean into the change in tone, but well, let's just say the evening ended far more passionately than I ever anticipated. Sorry if that's too much information, but it was, without question, the most intense, mind-blowing sex I've ever had. The other betrayed spouse is incredibly generous, and to be blunt, she's in a different league than my ex. It wasn't planned to go that far, but she was open to it. So was I. And I learned a few things in the bedroom that night. Let's just leave it at that. It was the first time I'd ever been with someone who really wanted to make me feel good, rather than the other way around. I guess I shouldn't even call her other betrayed spouse anymore, since she's officially divorced too. But for privacy, I'll keep referring to her that way. Truthfully, I don't think our relationship will evolve into anything serious. The chemistry was real, but I think the emotions and wine carried us further than we expected. She would like to explore something more, but I'm still undecided. I need time to heal emotionally, and honestly, I think she does too. Still, I feel great. People might not like to hear this, but sleeping with her really helped me shed a lot of lingering self-esteem damage. I felt wanted, alive. And for the first time, I finally understood what I'd been missing for all those years. I will never go back to cold, robotic, one-sided sex again. Even more satisfying? Knowing that I wasn't cheating, didn't betray my own values, and held my moral ground. Considering everything I've been through, I'm proud of how I handled it all. I wasn't flawless, but I did the best I could. And frankly, I probably came out better than most betrayed spouses, despite losing a good chunk of money. But that's because I listened. I absorbed the advice of others who had been there. I didn't go in blindly. I chose to learn. And for that, I'll always be thankful to this community. To wrap it up, here are a few takeaways. Respect yourself. Never allow disrespect from anyone, not even someone close to you. Everyone deserves a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Don't settle for scraps. Sex matters. Intimacy matters. If your partner is giving their best to someone else and not you, don't tolerate it. I'm not talking about coercion, just honest expectations. Don't settle for boring or unreciprocated intimacy unless it's mutual. It's okay to walk away. Communicate, seriously. Communicate often and clearly. I can't stress that enough. If you've been betrayed, healing is your responsibility. No one else can fix you. It took me a long time to grasp that. There are more lessons, but that's all I've got for now. I'll still be around to respond to comments for a few hours, but after that, I'm done posting. Time to move on with life. Update. Things are okay for now. Hey guys, I've received a bunch of emails asking how I'm holding up. I've intentionally stayed away from anything involving infidelity content because certain things still trigger me. I don't like sitting in that emotional space too long, so I've been distancing myself from it all to move forward. But since so many of you have reached out, I want to ease your concerns. I'm all right. Nothing bad has happened. No, I haven't fallen off the face of the earth. I'm still doing individual therapy, and yes, I'm still seeing the other betrayed spouse. She's now my girlfriend, technically. She's settled things with her ex, the affair partner, regarding custody and finances. And I want to give her credit. She could have destroyed him legally, but she didn't. She chose to handle everything with grace and maturity. There has been some tension between our kids as a result of all this, and we're doing our best to manage that best as we can. We've started therapy for the kids to help them adjust and fully understand that the relationship between the other betrayed spouse and me has little to do with them. That said, their emotional well-being is central to how we handle everything going forward. Break. It hasn't been easy, far from it. Not everyone's on board. My daughter, my ex, and the affair partner can't stand being around each other. I genuinely think they each blame the other for how things turned out. And I'm not exaggerating. There's real tension whenever those two are in the same space. My ex still wants a second chance. She's convinced the other betrayed spouse is somehow clouding my judgment, stopping me from seeing the bigger picture and throwing away all we had permanently. She's delusional. I'm genuinely concerned about her behavior lately. At a 4th of July party hosted by a mutual friend, she pulled a stunt. Nothing crazy, but still inappropriate. I shut it down, though probably not as firmly as I should have. I didn't believe people who said she'd start chasing after me once I walked away. But you were right, she's crawling back in every way possible. The other betrayed spouse is letting me take the lead in managing this, but she's clearly getting tired of my ex's nonsense. Did I mention how much my ex despises the other betrayed spouse? It's a deep, burning hatred. I genuinely believed my ex was trying to change for the better. But ever since I moved on and gave my time to someone else, she's been spiraling. She's a mess. And that's what I still don't get. I treated her better than I've treated anyone else in my life. She gave me nothing but emotional abuse and indifference in return. But the moment I say, I'm done, she starts doing cartwheels for my attention. Should I be angry about that? Probably. But more than anything, I just feel done. That's the update. For those of you asking if I'm okay. Yes, I'm okay, but I am worried about my daughter. Hi all. I'm not new to Reddit, but I am new to this particular sub. I've been looking around for quality resources to help me navigate the situation I'm in. Feel free to go through my post history for full context, but here's the short version. My ex-wife had an affair that lasted about 2 years. During that time, she was emotionally abusive, constantly comparing me to the other man. Our intimacy declined severely, and I took the blame for all of it. I thought I was the problem. Once I uncovered the affair, I didn't have a concrete plan to leave her right away. But over time, the decision made itself. One weekend, she lied about her whereabouts and went off to be with him. That's when I reached out to the other betrayed spouse, and together we started the process of divorcing our spouses. We told the kids in an age-appropriate way, something along the lines of, "Mommy broke a promise to Daddy, but we both still love you very much." No graphic details, just enough to help them understand why we were separating. They took it as well as anyone could hope in a situation like that. Of course, they didn't want us to split, and that's completely normal. My ex-wife kept pushing for reconciliation, but I couldn't do it. I forgave her, understood the affair wasn't really about me, and chose to move on. The divorce was costly, but the financial damage wasn't devastating. I should also mention that shortly after the divorce, the other betrayed spouse and I began seeing each other. At first, it was more like a friends with benefits situation, but it's grown more serious since then. I truly believe that if we hadn't leaned on each other during the emotional wreckage that followed the affair, I might still be stuck in that toxic marriage. Or worse, I might have taken myself out of the picture completely. Half joking, but not really. I talk with my kids regularly to check in on how they're handling all of this. I try to create an open environment where they can talk to me about anything. If they dislike my relationship with OBS, they can say so without fear of hurting me. I want them to know they have that freedom. My son, who's 10, absolutely loves her. My daughter, who's 15, is taking a bit more time to adjust to the new family dynamic. She's told me she wants me to be happy, and she doesn't want to interfere with my relationship with OBS because, in her words, it's not my place. I've reassured her that her happiness matters too. I told her if she does feel uncomfortable around OBS, she can tell me, and I won't be upset. She said she's okay, she just needs more time, and I respect that fully. We've had many conversations about healthy relationships. I've talked with my daughter about her fears, insecurities, and concerns. So far, she seems supportive of me and how I'm moving forward. OBS and I keep our relationship discreet. We go out of our way not to make things awkward or overwhelming for the kids. My son, daughter, and her 2 daughters. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is in therapy. Even the affair partner, that's a separate issue altogether. As you can probably tell, this entire situation has been nothing short of bizarre. Break, which brings me back to my daughter. The fallout from the affair, and the decisions that followed, have definitely strained the relationship between her and her mother. She tells me outright that she hates her. That if her mom hadn't done what she did, none of this would have happened. She's openly defiant toward her. When it's her mom's turn to take her, she sulks. She ignores attempts at affection. Once, she even cursed at her, something that forced me to step in and remind her to show respect. She complied, but it's clear the resentment runs deep. They've had multiple arguments, and it scares me how deeply my daughter has been affected. My ex is trying her best to manage the situation, but she can only do so much on her own. She's asked me to help mend their relationship, because, as she puts it, it was my choice to end the marriage. Sure, I could remind her that it was her cheating that started this, but I'm not that kind of person. Still, this has left me second-guessing how I've handled things. Here's what worries me. My daughter has no respect for her mom. She wishes things could go back to how they were, not knowing the emotional abuse I endured. She's in therapy, but I'm unsure how effective it really is. I worry she feels voiceless and overwhelmed. She's handled my relationship with the other betrayed spouse fairly well, but I fear she might be suppressing feelings. Deep down, I sometimes wonder if I ruined my kids' lives by choosing divorce, though I know I'm never going back to that toxic dynamic. Any advice is welcome. Update. I know many of you were concerned about me. Hey everyone, I've seen the DMS and chat requests. Sorry for not responding. I'm not active here anymore. But I know people have been genuinely checking in, and I want to ease your minds with an update. This isn't a happily ever after, but here it goes. Let's start with the obvious question. How are the other betrayed spouse and I doing? Honestly, fantastic. If I had known a woman like her existed earlier in life, I probably would have gone looking years ago. Kidding, kind of. All jokes aside, I've never had a stronger or healthier relationship than I do with her. After everything my ex-wife put me through, I had no idea what a real relationship was supposed to feel like. I still have doubts sometimes, but OBS has helped me work through them. She's an incredible partner. I'm very much in love with her. She's proven over and over again that I matter to her, and I feel the same way. That said, we're keeping things at the girlfriend stage. I'm still very skeptical of marriage as a concept. We're still private about our relationship and involving the kids as little as possible. But yes, they do know we're dating. The kids, well, it was a rocky beginning. Let's be honest, but things are actually going really well now. I think it's because we've both remained deeply engaged in their lives. We talk to them constantly, listen when they have problems, and of course, therapy has helped a lot. My daughter and son both adore OBS. She has a natural way with kids. Her daughter's like me now, too. A far cry from how they felt almost 2 years ago. Her youngest recently started introducing me as her stepdad at school events and family outings. I was stunned when I heard that. I worried she felt pressured or confused, but when I asked her, she smiled and said she liked me, that I made her mom happy, so she was happy I was in their lives. That one hit me hard, emotionally. It came out of nowhere and almost dropped me to my knees, but I kept a strong face. Seeing my kids play and laugh with hers has been one of the purest joys I've experienced in a long time. They've even formed a united team to tease my son, who's the youngest and only boy among them. I still haven't decided if I should laugh or cringe at that. And what about my ex-wife? We're on civil terms. She's been putting in the work, especially when it comes to rebuilding her relationship with our daughter. I was proud when my daughter said she's learning to forgive her mom for what she did. It's been a long, hard road for them, but they've made real progress. Still, I don't think my ex has fully accepted that we're done. She still drops subtle hints about getting back together. She's been hitting the gym, going to therapy, trying to look and feel her best, but deep down, I think she's still waiting for a second chance that'll never come. She's still in individual therapy. Overall, she seems much healthier now, but to be honest, I don't really care. I've made peace with everything that happened. It's her burden to carry if she hasn't done the same. She talks more frequently with the other betrayed spouse now, which is mutual. But OBS keeps a healthy level of caution, and she should, considering all that's transpired. Break. As for the affair partner, lost cause. I never expected him to be this much of a mess. All that money and not an ounce of wisdom. He has a girlfriend now, but his kids can't stand her, and they make that pretty clear. It took me a while to truly see how full of himself the guy was. Honestly, I'm not a fan of his girlfriend either. She strikes me as shallow, materialistic, and cold toward the girls. She has that selfish vibe that rubs everyone the wrong way. But to wrap this all up, we're doing better than okay. I had my doubts at times, wondered if I was making the right choices, but with a lot of hard work from everyone involved, it turned out beautifully. No happily ever after here, just a real, honest version of happy. And that's more than enough. So there you have it. You can all rest easy now.